Hello, and welcome to another episode of Reading Reddit with Amber. Today I have another batch of outrageous wedding stories for you. And we're going to be doing the same format as last week. So if you didn't see last week's video, I had gotten some feedback that because I basically always agree with Reddit, it's kind of redundant for me to give Reddit's verdict, so I'm just giving my own. So we're going to try that again. I haven't seen your feedback yet because I record my videos a week and a half in advance. So I won't have seen it by the time that this video comes out, but I will be taking your feedback into account when I make my next video. So if you have very strong feelings one way or the other, be sure to let me know in the comments. Our first story today is, am I the jerk for refusing to RSVP to my sister's wedding because I'm required to write an application essay just to attend? Yeah, I know this sounds ridiculous, but I'm living it. So my sister is getting married next February, destination wedding no less. I have doubts whether this wedding is actually going to happen with the pandemic and everything, but she is totally set on moving forward. Anyway, because of the pandemic, her original venue has made her cut down on guests because they're cutting capacity by half. As a result, she's sending out re-invites that asks everyone to RSVP again. But in order to figure out who to invite and who to cut, she's asking all confirmed guests to submit two 250-word essays to 2 questions. The gist is that they'll use these essays to choose who can come or not based on people's enthusiasm. People who don't write the essays at all will automatically be disqualified. I just feel really insulted by all of this. The questions aren't even pandemic related, it's broad topics like, why do you still want to celebrate this day with us? And what will attending our wedding mean to you specifically? So she's blatantly looking for people to kiss up to her and tell her why they really want to go. Anyway, I told her in advance that I'm not writing 500 words on why I need to attend her wedding, spend my own money on plane tickets and hotels, and buy her a present. This has really rubbed her and my parents the wrong way. She said that to keep things fair, if I don't fill out the RSVP correctly, I won't be saved a spot. I said fine with me. Then my parents said if I don't show up, I'm going to be in big trouble with all our relatives, so just write the essays. Am I the jerk if I stay stubborn on this? I'm already annoyed at the thought of spending thousands and coming home to quarantine, but I will not belt out 500 words on how this is totally my choice. Am I the jerk? Edit. I'm 27-year-old female. I don't live with my family, but she is my only sister. Edit 2. Sister has framed these as surveys, but there's a word limit requirement, so if you don't reach it on the Google Forms, you can't even submit. Parents think this is perfectly reasonable, nice even, because sister is letting everyone have a chance to attend. I'm going to say that OP is not the jerk. I'm sure it must be hard having to cut the wedding guests, and I know the sister probably doesn't want to appear biased, but she should be choosing her wedding guests based on whose presence she most wants to have there for her big day, not on who can write the best essays. That's still subjective, and people will probably be even more unhappy if they get cut from the wedding after writing 2 250-plus word essays. Our next story is, am I the jerk for threatening to ban my brother from my wedding because he plans on proposing to his girlfriend during the reception? And we have here the original story, but there's also an update. I am a 25-year-old male, and I'm getting married in December. My fiance, who's a 24-year-old female, and I both are very excited and busy planning, and this incident is making things much more stressful. A couple of weeks ago, I was talking about the wedding with my brother, who's a 30-year-old male, and he asked if it would be okay for him to propose to his girlfriend at our wedding. I laughed and said, yeah, sure, if you want to get your butt handed to you by my fiance. He laughed, and I figured he got the message. The other day, my fiance came to me in tears, saying that my brother had called her and thanked her for letting him propose at the wedding. She told him that had never happened, and he wasn't allowed to do that, and he just laughed and thanked her again. I called my brother back and asked him what was going on. He's insisting that he's going to propose to his girlfriend at the wedding. He claims it's getting even for when I announced our engagement at the same family dinner he brought his girlfriend to meet the family. I had no idea. They arrived separately, and she got there after I had made the announcement. I told him that if he doesn't get it through his head that he is absolutely not allowed to propose, both him and his girlfriend won't be allowed into the wedding at all, and if he tries to pull a stunt, we'll kick him out immediately. He didn't take it well and told the whole family. My fiance and I have been getting calls and messages from them telling us how garbage we are for doing that. How dare I turn my back on my brother. He's also now blaming me for spoiling the proposal to his girlfriend and the family, because if I hadn't been such a jerk, he wouldn't have had to break the news to the family like this. I still stand by what I did. I don't think I was out of line at all, but my fiance thinks we should have just let him propose to avoid conflict. I know it means a lot to her that everyone gets along and that there's no hard feelings, especially since she's stressed as it is, but I don't want to give in to my brother. Am I the jerk? Then we have edit. Thanks for all the responses. I didn't expect this to get so many comments. To address something, while I understand the intent behind the suggestions, my fiance and I will not be telling my brother that we'll announce a pregnancy at his wedding in retaliation. We are unable to conceive and this is a sore subject to us. And then we have the update. Firstly, thank you all so much for the response on my original post. Totally unexpected, but very much appreciated by my fiance and I. As I mentioned a couple of times in the comments of my original post, my fiance and I wrote up a Facebook post to explain the situation to our families, mostly mine, including screenshots of texts with my brother. I decided I didn't want to link the post here as it feels a little too personal to be slapping on Reddit. Sorry. As expected, once the family heard our side of the story and put everything together, many of them changed their tune. Most of the family members who had been calling me a jerk ended up apologizing and siding with me and my fiance. My brother was livid. He called me about an hour after the post went up and demanded that I take it down because it made him look bad. He said he was being unfairly attacked and even blamed me for his girlfriend breaking up with him. My brother has formally been banned from the entire wedding, and we've asked any family members who continue to side with him to RSVP that they will not be attending. Our parents aren't happy with the turnout, and my mother has decided she won't be attending my wedding because of how I'm alienating my brother during an important event. I don't mind. I've never been very close with her, and while it is a bit sad that she's choosing my hard-headed brother over my wedding, I still have my father's full support. My brother's now ex-girlfriend is still invited and get promoted to bridesmaid because of how helpful and supportive she's been to my fiance. Hopefully this is the last issue we'll run into during the wedding planning. I hope this update lives up to any expectations. I never expected I'd be in this situation, but I'm glad so many people on the sub got a kick out of it and very grateful for the advice and support I received. So I'm going to say OP isn't the jerk here. You don't propose at someone else's wedding. I think the engagement announcement is hardly comparable because it wasn't like OP and his partner got engaged to upstage the brother's new girlfriend. They got engaged and wanted to share the news with the family before they went public, and it happened to be the same day that the brother introduced his new girlfriend, and the girlfriend hadn't even arrived yet. Also, it doesn't sound like the brother considered how humiliating it could be to his girlfriend to be proposed to at someone else's wedding. The brother sounds spiteful, and I'm not surprised that his girlfriend ended up breaking up with him over this. Our next story is, am I the jerk for inviting my brother to my wedding, but not his wife? I'm engaged. My fiancée is fat. She was when I met her. I've always found her irresistibly sexy. Not looking for commentary or unsolicited advice on this point. My fiancé and I sent out save the dates for the wedding. My brother got one. His wife very intentionally did not. He got married last year. His wife had all of my siblings' significant others as bridesmaids, whether they were married or dating. Even my other brother's girlfriend, who he'd only been with for a few months. I'd been with my girlfriend for nearly 5 years at this point, and everyone knew it was a question of when, not if, would get married. She didn't ask my girlfriend to be a bridesmaid because she didn't want to be constrained to picking a bridesmaid dress available in plus sizes and didn't want to have my girlfriend in her wedding photos. I'm not speculating. That's not something I ever could have guessed. That's what she said, in her own words, when we arrived at the wedding to find everyone else's significant others were bridesmaids but her, and asked what was going on. I thought maybe it was a bridezilla moment and should realize how hurtful it was later, but it's been over a year, and while my brother has apologized again and again for ever having allowed that to happen, which is why he's invited, his wife never did at all, even when it's been brought up in front of her. We've only seen them a couple of times since the wedding, and my fiancé has tried to forgive and forget, but it's still uneasy between us because of the singular lens we now know she views my fiancé through. My fiancé doesn't mind grinning and bearing it for the occasional family event we have to attend, but I didn't feel like it would be right to make her spend her wedding day with someone who would ever treat her as less than human. We're having a very intimate wedding, 20 people and 12 our family. Having that woman there would taint the whole dynamic. That being said, the rest of the family is understandably upset. My family, my brother especially, feel like we're trying to make them choose sides. In my other brother's words, even if that wasn't your intention, it's the result, and that's a real jerk move none of us deserve. We didn't do anything to your fiance. I definitely don't want to make anyone choose sides, and he's not wrong that they didn't cause the problem and don't deserve the fallout. But my wife also deserves a wedding day with only people who love and cherish her. Am I the jerk for not inviting my brother's wife? Opie is not the jerk here, but I'm going to say that the whole rest of his family is. I disagree with the other brother's assertion. They all did something to Opie's fiance by not stepping in before the wedding day. It's not like you pick your bridesmaids on the day of the wedding. Everyone knew for months in advance that all the other partners were included, but not OP's, and no one stopped to ask why or bothered to suggest that maybe that would be hurtful. Like, I don't understand how literally no one stopped to be like, oh, Opie also has a girlfriend, maybe you should consider including her too. Also, the brother's wife would so cavalierly admit that she's excluded OP's partner because of her weight is very telling of her character. She absolutely does not deserve a spot at OP's wedding, and any family members who think she does don't really deserve a place either. Our final story is, am I the jerk if I ask only my dad to do father of the bride stuff at my wedding? I'm a 26-year-old female, and I'm getting married in the next year, hopefully. I come from a little bit of a complicated family. My mom was young when she had me, and my biological father was not a good person. She met my dad when I was a few months old, and he was and still is my dad in every other sense of the word. He never treated me any different from my siblings who are biologically his children. When I was 12, my parents divorced, and my mom moved on with her childhood best friend who is now her husband. It was all very fast, and I admit I did not take to his presence in our life that great. I was confrontational, and my mom was not happy with me for not being happy for her. Her and my dad's marriage is complicated. After she married her current husband, I got the feeling sometimes that she expected me to drop my dad. This was confirmed recently when we were talking about my wedding, and she was shocked by the fact that I wanted my dad to do the traditional father of the bride stuff with me. She told me her husband should do it at least with him, but they've been married longer than her and my dad were, and neither are biologically my father, so it makes more sense. I told her my dad is the man who raised and loved me. She fired back that her husband did too, but I told her it wasn't the same. He came into my life later, and I already had the best dad. She told me it wasn't right to have one man do it over the other unless it's her husband. Her husband even told me he was disappointed when my mom told him I only wanted my dad. My siblings are upset that my mom has taken the stance she has. They see that it was disrespectful to our dad, who never ever treated me differently to them. Even when my mom made it hard after the divorce, he never stopped coming through for me. Admittedly, I almost cut my mom off for not supporting my relationship before, and now I wonder why. Is she right though? Am I the jerk? I'm going to say that Opie isn't the jerk. Her dad is her dad. He continued to love her and be a dad to her after the divorce, even though they had no shared genetics. Her mother's husband isn't her dad. Her mom could stay married to this man until the day one of them dies, and that would not make him a dad, because being a dad is about way more than marriage length or DNA. If Opie wants to acknowledge her mother's husband's role in her life in some small way during the wedding to keep the peace, then she could, but she doesn't have to. But she is well within her right to want to do the father of the bride activities with her dad and her dad only. Those are all the stories I have for you for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving it a like or letting me know in the comments. I post new videos twice a week, funny or outrageous ones on Wednesdays and spooky ones on Sundays. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.